Hey everyone, welcome
Hi.
to the patch. This week we got Gus, Burnie, and Ray over there.
Yep.
We're here to talk about video games for the next hour.
I get the center seat now so people can't creep on my laptop screen.
So now you're Ray
Our
and
love
I's
child. You're the
I have to admit, I did see it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really?
People were saying after the last time we were on the podcast together that you looked like
That's
our
actually
love
why I'm
child.
sitting here now, right? So you don't have to hear it anymore?
Well, no, now we're like the parents giving you a talking to.
That's good.
That's what
You're the minority now.
Hey,
Hey.
we
That
did
is
it.
true. Turn the tables.
So a lot of stuff still happening with games. I feel like there's a lot of news still this week.
Yep.
Why wouldn't there be? I mean,
I feel like there's lulls, especially post E3.
Yeah.
Like everyone saves up their news and then they.
The first week
don't have
after
anything.
E3 is still busy, and then it kind of like dies back down, I guess.
Until the holidays.
Yeah.
And then like in September you'll start seeing things pick back up.
You know, I gotta say, E3 went away for a little while, and where it became a smaller event, and I don't necessarily think that was a bad idea. I think that a lot of developers kind of interrupt their process to make something to show at
Yeah.
E3, and they go into rehearsal times and everything else. If all that time was spent still in development, I mean, it could just make the game that much better.
Yeah,
you know?
but E3's come back.
I get,
There's
I get
just
it.
as much, if not more, resources dedicated to it.
Yeah.
So it's like, what was the point of the break?
No, I don't know. I don't know what happened that made it different that it came back.
Yeah.
I mean, they had it for a couple years, like in hotel, like those big dining
Right.
halls or whatever. What are those things called? Like conference rooms?
Yeah,
or?
like function space.
Yeah, and it's like they had it in places like that, and I guess it's just people are like, yeah, let's go back to the big spectacle again.
Yeah, this isn't nearly as cool as going to the convention center. I saw, I guess Conan O'Brien finally released a video where he went to E3 and talked to a bunch of people. It's weird seeing like
A talk
late
show
night
host.
talk show
yeah.
people.
If anything,
going-
I would think like Jimmy Fallon would do something like that. But I mean,
Yeah.
he's doing like his gaming week, but he wasn't at the event, I don't think.
Right, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he does that thing where like the week after E3, he changes his intro to be.
Oh, really? I didn't know he
Like-
changed his intro. I know he has like.
Yeah,
the
he
new
makes it
consoles
look
there
like
and
video
stuff.
games. Like this year, it looked. It was like an homage to a bunch of different video games.
Oh, okay.
Like he kept running from video game to video game.
Yeah.
You guys are apparently big fans. I would never have seen that.
Yeah, man. J-Fal.
Yeah?
Me and him, yeah.
Yeah, Elijah Wood was on there the other day, and they were talking about Last of Us.
Oh, yeah.
And
He was on there too, and they were talking about Call of Duty Ghosts. I saw he was there too. I'm not
was
sure.
on there?
He was on there, and they were talking about Call of Duty Ghosts.
Really?
So I'm not sure if he's there like the whole week, maybe, or maybe it's the same episode.
I don't know. I know he's doing big promotions for some of the. He launched a horror film company, and he's got his first movie coming out, or I think the first movie
And-
from the production company. So they're doing a lot of promotional tours for
And
it.
the new season of Wilfred's about to start.
Busy
guy.
dude.
Yeah.
Busy dude.
But yeah, he was there talking about Last of Us. Was he involved with that, or just talking about it?
No, just liking it and playing
As
it.
a fan.
Yeah.
I finally started playing the Last of Us multiplayer last night, and I was trying to describe it to Ray earlier. And they took all of those stressful elements from the single player and managed to recreate them in multiplayer.
Really?
Like you start with 2 weapons. Well, there's different classes, but if you play assault, you start with 2 weapons: the shorty, which is the little sawed-off shotgun,
Right.
and a burst rifle, which is an assault rifle that shoots in 3-round bursts. You only get 15 bullets for the burst rifle and like 6 shells for the shorty.
The burst rifle is like the one you get at the towards the end of the
Yeah.
game. Okay.
So like you fire in 3-round bursts, you have 15 bullets, you think I can pull the trigger 5 times with this gun.
Wow.
Do people die quickly?
You can
is it like a health
change-
bar, or is it kind of like the screen
No,
goes red?
It's the same health bar in the
Okay.
game, and you can have, if you can find a health kit on the map, you can
Alright.
use it. But it's super stressful. It's like 5v5, and there's 2 different game modes. One of them is no respawns, so it's just whichever team
Don't mess
comes
up.
out ahead.
Just
Yeah.
like life, baby.
And then the other game mode is each team has 20 respawns pool.
Each team. Oh God. How mad would that make you and your teammates?
Well, that's just like in Gears of War 3, they had team death matches, and one based on score, I think was based on how many respawns you had. And there's always that one guy that went like 3 kills and like 18 deaths. So it's like, well, thanks. I mean, can you
Man.
just like return the game, please?
I remember in the first season of the Gauntlet, we put the boyfriend and girlfriend contestants on the same team.
That was a mistake.
We
Well,
thought that'd be a
maybe it
great
wasn't,
idea.
but-
and she got 0 kills in the Call of Duty match in which they were eliminated. I
about
always
Anchor.
felt terrible
They
about that.
got eliminated only by like 1 or 2 kills, right? It was super
Yeah.
close. That was a good match to watch. That was super intense.
Yeah, so you like it a lot. Let me ask you this: have you played any of Last of Us
Oh,
yet
oh.
at all?
No.
Okay.
We
So let
do-
me ask you this:
Okay.
This is a fundamental thing for Last of Us.
Okay.
Are you a bottle or a brick player?
Oh, absolute bottle. Always
Really?
a bottle.
I
Never
can't
a
believe
brick.
you would say that.
Never a brick. Always a bottle.
You're insane. If I have a bottle in my hand, I see a brick, I'm like, brick.
No, fuck bricks. I'm like, I guess I have to carry this brick. Then as soon as I see a bottle, like, yes. And then I'll collect them. I'll be like, I'm going to come back for these bottles later.
No, see, so there's a distraction mechanism in
Yeah.
the game where you can pick up a brick or a bottle, you can toss it, or you can just chuck it at a dude.
Yeah.
Which to me, it's like, I imagine that like it's a military guy or a hunter. These guys who like hunt.
Is there a difference? Like, will a brick like kill faster because
I think
it's heavier?
it's exactly the same.
Or it's
effect.
just cosmetic.
Yeah.
It's totally cosmetic thing, but it's like I found if I saw a brick, I had to pick up a brick, and it was like because to me it's like chucking a brick at a dude. It's like yeah, we're 20 years of the apocalypse, but it's like we're searching for you, we're gonna kill you, you're gonna kill me. But there's that moment where I stand up and I chuck it at him, and then I run up and I bang him with the lead pipe. It's like I know there's that moment in his head where it's like, dude, did you just throw a brick at me? It's like even that's off limits somehow if you're gonna chuck a brick at a dude and hit him in the head.
I know
But a bottle's fair play.
There's no difference, but to me, like the bottle, I think it's gonna break and someone's gonna cut their foot on that later. You know, it's like there's gonna be some more collateral damage down the road that I'm gonna cause. But there's another aspect to the multiplayer as well, where when you're like in your lobby or you're offline, like before you get into a match, you gather like survivors with you. It's like a meta game.
Okay.
And as you do better in the game, in the rounds, and you collect supplies, you attract more survivors in this meta game.
Right. So there's a trophy associated with that, I think.
I think there is.
Maybe
yeah.
I'm mixing up with.
Does it benefit you if you have more survivors in the multiplayer?
I don't know.
game at all?
I only played for like half an hour.
Oh, okay.
So I only played several rounds. So I don't know. And then like every round is another day, and you have to make it like a certain number of weeks and build up survivors.
So like if I sit down and I'm gonna play a multiplayer match of Last of Us, how long is it gonna take me?
5 to 10 minutes, if that.
Oh really?
I mean, they're really short. Think about it. If it's 5v5 with no respawns, that's
Especially
fast.
no respawns.
Yeah.
And if
how
it's like
reckless
20,
people play.
yeah, and if there's 20 aggregate, I think there's a timer on each match for like 10 minutes.
You said you can scavenge like
Yeah.
in the multiplayer match.
And yeah,
as well,
you can
so-
find resources, and you can also get like ammo and stuff off of people you kill.
Man, you know, listen, I saw Michael today. He was playing, I hope it's okay to say this, Fallout. He's playing one
Yeah,
of the
he was just
Fallout
playing
games.
for fun.
Oh, he's playing for fun?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
At work?
What's your go-to game if you just pick up a game to play for fun?
It's probably a multiplayer game, so I can play with friends or fans. So right, it's Black Ops or Halo 4 right now.
Yeah, I saw you playing Halo 4 the other day.
Yeah, I was just doing like a fan thing. Like, hey, I want to play Halo 4. Let's play, and I played for like an hour and a half. It was a good time. Yeah.
It can be hard because you got to rotate those parties when people want to join up.
Yeah, people want to stay. It's like one at a time. I try to get everybody in, but yeah, it's probably a multiplayer thing.
What's your go-to for that?
Whatever's in the tray.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine-
There's nothing I go back and revisit on a regular basis.
You still don't have games on demand, like digital versions?
them.
Yeah, okay. Because that's like you always want to change and talk about that. Well, digital on demand is like gives you that.
But typically, by the time those games come out, I've already played every game that has come out on demand. I've already played to exhaustion.
Yeah. You know, I ran into, I got PS Plus for my PlayStation 3, and I ran into a problem which could indicate like a problem for next generation, because I like digital downloads. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And I downloaded Last of Us. I bought it that way. And then when I joined PlayStation Plus, they had Uncharted 3 available for free. They had
They have a lot of good stuff.
they have a lot of good stuff. Saints Row.
The third?
The third.
Oh, wow.
I always have to correct myself. If you say Saints Row 3, everyone gets mad at you.
third.
Yeah, well.
But that's available for download. So I started downloading stuff. Like I was going to get Uncharted 3, but I was already out of space just from games that I had installed, because the PS3 requires installation.
That's right.
The way next-gen Xbox is as well.
Not for every game.
Is it true for not for every
Yeah.
game?
And some games are tiny installations. Like I think Last of Us is like 50 megabytes or something.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, mine
But there
is.
are some games like Metal Gear Solid 4 is like a multi-gig installation.
But I have a digital version of Last of Us, so it's like an 8 gig installation,
right.
whatever it is.
Man, I had a.
But it would let me, by the way, play Last of Us when I was 70% downloaded, which I
That's
appreciate.
cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
But I was going to say real quick, long
Yeah.
segue there, but that there's games like Fallout where if you had that mentality where I have to search everything, that will become your whole life. Searching every locker and every box in Fallout.
Yeah.
Last of Us is the same way. I gotta go through everything and like try to find and open drawers and try to find everything in it.
Isn't that it's linear though, right? Last of Us, or is it open?
It's fairly linear. It's not like you can wander everywhere,
Okay.
but there's a lot of like areas that you
like
don't
side-
have to go
yeah.
through. Yeah.
You can definitely tell there's areas where I'm supposed to go this way, but there's a door over here, so let's go over here and scavenge.
Yeah.
And you know it's kind of set up like that.
So,
Yeah.
Someone tweeted at us that apparently bottles make more noise, so they can be heard from further, and bricks are one-hit melee kills.
Oh, you can just with a brick, you just go bang, bang.
That's interesting. I never used a bottle or a brick in melee.
Really?
No.
Yeah, you just have to have a head in your hand. You run up and hit them.
No,
Yeah.
I know. I prefer to use my hands.
Listen, I always heard about running out of ammo in Last of Us. I never ran out of ammo. I
constantly
I did
for
that
ammo.
thing where it's like I hoarded everything the entire time.
I know somebody who went through the whole game and until the last 20 minutes of the game didn't know you can check your bag for different weapons.
Oh my god.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
So it
there's
was kind of a challenge that they made it that far. I'm like, you played the game incorrectly, but added an unnecessary challenge to it.
You know, there really are, like, all the leveling aspects of that game are just things to save you time.
Yeah.
Like, there's one to heal faster. You don't really need that. You're not really often healing in combat. Or craft faster, or...
Yeah, I didn't understand the point behind the craft faster. It's like, I'm not going to craft...
Well, that's like the same
in
thing
combat.
with searching at State of Decay, just if you're patient or not.
Oh, I know, dude. It plays into that same thing.
Yep.
Like, I just don't want to watch this progress bar again and again. But yeah, it's like, I learned that back in the Doom days. Like, when you would get the BFG, I would save it for huge boss monsters or the rocket launcher. And then I would finish the game and I would have, 99 rockets. Or I'd have a full load of the BFG. And then I ran into somebody like Gavin, who it's like, if the game gives him a rocket launcher, he just uses it. That's the next weapon he uses. I can't do it either.
I normally can't do that, but I went against that when I was close to the end of State of Decay. You get to like a point where you go to the government installation with the army guys, and then I found like 6 grenade launchers.
Yeah.
So I dropped everything I had. I was like, I'm only using grenade launchers the rest of the game now.
You're talking about State of Decay?
Yeah, State of Decay.
Yeah.
I ran into grenade ammo.
You never found a grenade launcher? I found a grenade launcher in the same spot.
When you go with those guys and you have to like clear out the area, it's where they took all the where you're looking for the artillery rounds.
In that like outdoor exhibition place.
Yes, there's like one locker in there that literally has 6 grenade launchers in it, and I was like, oh yeah, I think
it's a fixed spawn where you can get it, but at that point you're at the end of the game. But it's still good to have.
I had a part of Last of Us where I was just like, I haven't used a Molotov or the little bomb, the scissor bomb.
Oh, I love that bomb.
So I just started chucking them in this one scene.
When you get to the winter portion of Last of Us and you meet that one guy, and then he sends his friend to go get you the supplies, and then the two of you have to defend against all the people attacking you in that building. I use those scissor bombs constantly because you can throw them and have them set up. So it's like I knew where all the enemies were going to come from, so I would just throw them out and set them up as traps and then just try to get back into a defensible position.
Which I really do have to wonder about. If I get some scissors and a bag of fertilizer, how am I making a bomb that is sensitive to when people get close to it? It's like some kind of motion. Where does the motion detection part come in?
Fertilizer.
But I guess you just suspend some things.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about Last of Us, let's continue this discussion about it. And then there's obviously some stuff to talk about with State of Decay.
I had a problem playing it last night. So I hadn't played since the game had launched, so I went to play it last night.
Right.
And I tried to patch, so I downloaded the patch, and installed it. Then I went to launch the game, and it just hung on that black screen that says The Last of Us.
Yeah.
For like 10 minutes, and I rebooted my my PS3, and I tried to launch it again. Same thing.
I think I found your problem.
Yeah.
And I had to go in and delete the patch data.
Really?
And then it re-downloaded the patch, and then it worked.
You just want to say the patch over and over again,
patch.
don't you? It's branding for Gus. Yeah, but you were on Twitter talking about it, and I said to you, why don't you just delete your installation and reinstall the game? And you said, it's on disk. And I didn't reply back to that, but I was like, doesn't it have to install every time? Anything on? I've never run into a PlayStation game that didn't have to install.
I mean, yeah, it was like 50 megs.
But still, just delete that and reinstall.
I thought you meant like, I thought you had thought I got it on Games on Demand.
Oh,
on like an on-demand service.
No, that would take you. I will say this. The first time I downloaded Last of Us on launch day, it took me 6.5 hours to get it. And they have one screen. It's Joel and Ellie, and you're just looking at a progress bar. Then when I did the DRM test, which we did a couple weeks ago on the patch, I downloaded it for another console. That took 45 minutes, I think.
Not nearly as many people trying to get it.
Not nearly, yeah. So I do like day one launch. We ran into this yesterday because Ashley and I went out and tried to find for Wii U the new Wario game. Dude, and I was just reminded of the fact of, it's like, I hate this. I hate retail. I hate that I go into, we went to 3 different stores trying to find it, couldn't find it. Finally, we found it like, tucked away in a corner at Target. But the first place we went was GameStop, and they said, well, we don't have any copies unless you pre-ordered it.
Love
and it's
that.
like, what?
That's I love that.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know why more people don't embrace digital downloads. It's the pre-ordering thing is I literally have to buy the game twice. I got to go in and buy it, then I got to go in and buy it again. Yeah. On the day it comes out. It's just like, it's such a fucking huge hassle.
Also, they don't think they're going to sell any more copies than just the pre-orders?
Gus, it's
like,
software.
Just to push pre-orders.
Yeah.
It's software, it's discs.
And they have return policies with distributors, right? And you unsold merchandise, send it back.
They absolutely do.
Well, sometimes, I worked at GameStop for a year and a half. Sometimes we will only, depending on the game, we will get like a massive amount, like a Madden or something. We'll get a bunch for every system. But then there'll be something like a WarioWare. I guess that's a bad example, but some game like got no press or anything like that. It's like a smaller game. It will get like just enough for pre-orders. And sometimes that's like 2. Mm-hmm. And then they were right, like nobody would come asking for it. So I guess that happens enough where they're like, well, we don't need hundreds of copies of this game, so we'll just do it for pre-orders.
Yeah.
And they get their 10 or whatever, and that's it.
Yeah, but for Wario specifically, it's like,
that's
what
a
games have come
Nintendo
out for
game.
the
Yeah,
Wii U?
exactly.
It's like, people are waiting for that.
That's a bad example, yeah.
I think that's what surprised me most about the E3 like fervor that went down is just that it wasn't so much people's brand loyalty or whatever. I was surprised by the number of people who are still dependent on discs and want discs. I'm amazed by that. Music has gone all digital. I can't remember the last time I bought physical media for music. PC gaming is all digital. I mean, right? Are people still buying PC disc and putting shit in the tray?
Where can you buy a PC disc? Like if
Target.
you wanted to buy...
Yeah, they have a PC section at Target.
I know The Sims 3 with all its expansions are all retail.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the 30 of them. I saw a picture on Reddit, they're all stacked. It's like, jeez.
In fact, I want to say I had to buy Flight Simulator on disc because it wasn't digital.
I had to buy that too. I had to buy that through Amazon, yeah.
That seemed antiquated to me.
Yeah.
But then to see that people were fiercely defending that they wanted their disc.
Yeah, it was. Like, I remember I was really annoyed when I had to buy Flight Simulator because it was like a Sunday or something. I thought I want to play Flight Simulator. I was like, I'm gonna buy it. I was like, sure, I'm sure I can download it somewhere.
Yeah.
Looked online, like, nope, you have to buy this on disc. Like, shit. And of course, nobody has it in town. Like, oh, great, now I wanted to play it right now. I've got to wait, 3 days.
Yeah.
Like in 3 days, I'm really gonna have some fun.
And I would rather start a digital download and wait 2 or 3 hours to get it than to get in my car and drive all over town or call people and say, do you have a copy in stock and all that stuff. I mean, even when I saw the copy of Wario on the shelf, it was freaking locked up. And I had to go find somebody at 10 o'clock at night at Target, and then somebody didn't have a key, and we're all wandering around, and finally we got it.
And then they're like, your son gonna like this game? Like, no, I'm buying this for me.
Yeah, no, I'm buying it for
like 20
work.
questions. It's like, let me just download the game and play it in peace. Nobody bother me.
Yeah, but PC's a little fractured too, though, because, I mean, some titles are on Steam, some titles are on, what is it?
Origin.
Yeah, Origin, and then even GOG and stuff like that.
I think some people are missing the point.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
We got this tweet. In Canada, we have EB Games, which is GameStop. You can pay for the entire game when you pre-order and just go in and pick it up day one.
Okay.
The point is, you still have to go to the store twice to buy one game. It's not a matter of when you pay. You still have to go, make the transaction, leave, then come back.
When you do reserve it, you don't pay extra. You pay toward it, but you do still have to do two things.
And I get it, because what they do is then when you're going to pick it up, they said you want to pre-order something next. Right. You know what I mean? They keep you in that chain of doing that stuff. So I get that, but it's like, I wasn't aware of Wario until like maybe a month or two before it came out. It's like I hadn't pre-ordered it and I wanted it, and it's like to get it was a big friggin' hassle. And if it's like digital, they're not going to run out of copies on digital,
right?
And they're going to download it. So it's like that's why I've always been a huge proponent of day one digital downloads. That's why I downloaded Last of Us day one, and I'm looking forward to the Microsoft finally embracing day one and doing that as well.
Yeah.
In fact, I would think that if they really, both Sony and Microsoft want people to download. They see people as all moving to download and doing all digital in the future. They see that. And I think it's obviously in their benefit if they do that, because 100% of the money goes to them. They don't have to strike deals with retailers or things like that. And I think there's a real simple solution for it. If they really are against used games, and I think that's the subtext, if you can call it subtext at this point, I think that what they could do is say, yeah, we still have physical media. It's still out there. Here's the digital version. It has all the digital components that we want. It has all the DRM, which protects us from piracy and all that other stuff. But guess what? The digital version is $5 cheaper. Yeah. To me, that seems like an offset for the manufacturing, shipping, retail, all that other stuff. And if the digital version is $5 cheaper, I don't know why they just wouldn't do that.
Or it comes out a day earlier because we don't have to ship it to a store.
Yeah.
There you go.
The day we ship it out of the warehouse to go to the stores, you can download it.
I don't understand what Valve does, how they do it without massive security problems where they preload the assets.
Oh, yeah.
And then they unlock it at, I think that's very sophisticated.
You pre-download the game and then you could hit play at midnight or something.
Right.
Well, you have to download a final 30 kilobytes or something.
Okay.
It's like whatever unlocks the files that are downloaded.
There's dudes in Russia who were like, fuck you and your 30 kilobyte unlock. I'll write that in 2 seconds. But yeah, it just seems like a real simple solution to me that if these developers or these companies, hardware companies, wanted people to go to digital, don't restrict people from having physical media. Make the digital component more competitive. And there's a real simple way to do it. I mean, obviously the used game market is huge, huge. What's the difference? A $60 game, a $55 game.
Yeah.
Do the same thing with digital. Compete with it.
It was crazy working at GameStop, seeing people who are like, this game is, brand new game is $60 and this game is $55. It's like, it's $5 difference, but 9 times out of 10 they would get the used one, without fail. It's like, it's $5. I'm like, yeah, but it's used and all that stuff. They're like, it's $5. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
But I guess it's also a used game too, so if they don't like it, they can just bring it back.
Well, Gus and I are huge curmudgeons too. We would get the one disc, we get home, it doesn't work, and that would kill the experience for us.
One time I went, what was I buying? Viva Pinata 2. Went to the fucking store. Then they're like, oh, we have it used here. Like, no, that's fine. I want the new copy just because I know, like you,
work.
like I'm gonna have a problem or something's gonna happen. Like, are you sure the used one's $5 cheaper? Like, no. Please just give me the new copy of Viva Pinata 2. I bought it in Buda for some reason. I drove all the way back up to my house. Got to my house, opened up the case. It was a Viva Pinata racing game.
Yep.
And I was like, what the fuck?
That happens a lot too. I've done that before. I've given people the same game but for the wrong system. I'm like, whoops.
Whoops.
So then again, it was like Sunday night at 9 p.m. Like, fuck, can't play it. Gotta wait till tomorrow. Gotta go.
You could race it up with pinatas.
Gotta go to another store and be like, listen, I'm not scamming you. I swear I bought this down at the other store. They put the wrong game in there.
Now, do you have that when you go to retail too? Is like sometimes at retail, I almost feel like I have to prove to them, act in a way that proves I'm not stealing shit. I mean, I don't know how else to put that. It's like I have to go through this
you
like
walk
charade.
in and they don't trust you.
I know. I don't know what it is. But all I know is that I think that if anything that's available digital, I bought Animal Crossing for my DS. I bought that digital. I was so friggin' happy
Did
about
that with Fire Emblem?
Yeah.
I'll probably do that with the new Pokemon games because a game like that is going to be sold out for a while. So just download it.
Yeah. And I get that there's people in the world that can't download a game in less than 2 days too. So, but if you listen to everybody pirating everything, it sounds like everybody has like super bandwidth to their houses. So, oh, you want to talk about, since we're talking about Last of Us, we got off on the tangent of retail and digital. You want to talk about what's going on with State of Decay? They recently were denied classification by the Australian Board of Classification.
Right. State of Decay and Saints Row 4.
Right.
Why did they call it Saints Row the 4th? It's going to be fucking confusing. Saints Row 4 was denied classification as well. Do you know why Saints Row 4? Saints Row the 4th
game.
Was denied classification?
What did you hear?
It was the alien anal probe weapon.
Okay, what I heard was it specifically violated Australia's rules of sexualized violence.
Yes.
And this
you can't stick something up someone's butt without their permission.
Why don't you describe what the weapon is?
It looks like an electric giant dildo.
Right.
And you attack people by shoving it up their butts.
All right.
And then it shoots them off into the distance.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
You would bend the person over and you would do that, and there would be a pixelization around the anus.
Like The Sims?
Yeah,
You go to the bathroom.
like, except for the anal rape part, but...
You never played DLC, is it?
No, I never played that DLC. And then it would eject them off. How do you feel about that?
Those games are always like over the top like that. It's just like cartoon violence. I mean, it's not like, Tom and Jerry, they're dropping anvils and shit on each other's heads.
Okay,
I'm just saying, it's like this cartoony violence. It's so ridiculous. Like
you can't take it literally, seriously.
Yeah, but
you really couldn't do that.
But it's always in these.
Or can you?
It's always in these debates of like censorship and things like this. Do you see that there is a line somewhere, like that we have to have ratings for certain age groups?
Oh, absolutely.
And that there is a line, and there's some things that wouldn't be acceptable to put in a game. I don't know what that would be, or do you think everything is acceptable to be in a game?
Anything that's acceptable that you could put on film and distribute other ways, sure, why not?
I would say in a lot of ways too is that film and the way that films are rated in the U.S. is the Motion Picture Association of America. That's actually a private group. It's not a government agency.
Is it industry run?
Mm-hmm, it's industry run.
Okay.
Just like the ESRB in America, that's what does all of our video game ratings. That's industry run as well. The FCC, that's what does essentially ratings for all of our television. That is a government entity.
And they regulate radio as well.
They regulate.
Oh, really?
That's They will pull shit off the air. There are specific rules, all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess that the FCC came down on radio and came down on TV, and so film was the first group to go, hey, we can monitor ourselves.
Right.
Also, comics did that for a long time. Comics had the comics code, and it was that little stamp that was in the top corner of comics. Did you play Deadpool, by the way?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that in a second. But the comics code was a thing that they had in their own industry for like things that they would or wouldn't put in comics.
Right, it was like a rule set. When you saw that seal, it's like you knew it adhered to the code.
Right, and the ESRB, in my opinion, is a lot more stringent.
So,
but I would say that in a movie, that you don't have a choice whether or not you want to experience something. Like if the anal probe weapon exists in Saints Row, I might not use it. Mm-hmm. Games are weird because they're interactive. I'd say I just don't want to use that weapon, and I would completely avoid it. But then there are parts of like Last of Us that are cinematic that you can't avoid them. They are part of the linear story, and you don't have the excuse of saying, well, as a player, I just won't do that, because you do experience them.
Right.
Was Saints Row the 3rd banned in Australia? I mean, you had a big dildo bat in that one.
But you were only hitting people with it. You weren't sticking it in them.
Yeah, but it's a big,
But it's
flopping around.
It's not sexualized violence, or Well,
you're cock slapping.
Well, they
people,
have
Gus.
a new thing. Ash, you want to help us out here because Ashley worked at Xbox Australia. Do you want to help us out? She worked at Xbox Australia, so she dealt with this stuff, and she knows a lot of people in the Australian gaming industry. But they came up with a new rating system just recently, like in January of this year. They didn't have mature rating down there.
So now they have an
it's
R18 plus.
R18,
Yeah. What is it, Ashley? Is she up yet? What is it?
It's R18.
R18. So R18 is what they have. So they have R18, which is now basically our mature rating, right? So that's 18 plus?
Yeah, so that's the new one, and that just came in January. Before that, there was nothing above an MA15 plus rating.
Uh-huh.
And it was actually one of the few developed countries to lack an adult's video game rating.
Really? And so she was looking at stuff before, like what was Saints Row? Gus just asked, what was Saints Row the Third? What ranking did they get?
Well, Saints Row the Third was released as MA15 plus.
MA15 plus. So the Australian rankings are E, which is exempt from classification. That's only for specific types of material, including educational and artistic. G is general. PG.
That'd be probably T.
M is for contains material that may require a mature perspective, but is not deemed too strong for younger viewers. That's M. They're M.
Okay.
MA15 is 15 plus. Contains material that is considered unsuitable for exhibition by persons under the age of 15. R18 is restricted to 18 or over. Contains material that is considered unsuitable for exhibition by persons under the age of 18.
What's X18 though?
X18 plus contains material that is pornographic in nature.
Okay.
Nice.
People under 18 may not buy, rent, or exhibit these films.
So, okay.
So I guess that applies to movies as well, or to
So they
video
have an
games as well.
M, an M15, and an M18.
I may have inadvertently just...
R18.
Oh, R18.
So have they lined up... Am I reading their movie classifications there, Ash?
Yeah, well, so the nice thing about the Australian classification is that that rating system is shared across all media. So TV, movies, and video games all share the same things, which is kind of nice because the ESRB can be a bit confusing maybe for parents who aren't acquainted with what the ratings mean. But the X18 rating doesn't exist for video games.
Okay.
When we went down to New Zealand a few years ago, like one of our first trips down there, we went to a convention. We were going to sell our DVDs. In order to legally sell our DVDs down there, we had to get them approved by the New Zealand Film Board. And then I remember when I showed up to sell the stuff, they gave me like a roll of rating stickers, like MA15 or whatever they were. Like, you have to put one of these on every DVD you sell. I was like, okay. So every time we sold a DVD, I was like, hold on, I can't sell you that.
I gotta put the rating on.
I'd have to peel a sticker off and put it on there. Be like, that is now a legal DVD you can purchase.
X18, I'm being told from Australian viewers, does not apply to video games. That is just a movie ranking.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Just making sure. Clarifying.
So one thing I like about the ESRB versus the MPAA is the ESRB is a lot more open with what their rating standards are and what things will get you classified differently.
Yeah.
The MPAA is very closed and does not let you know why you earned the rating you did. In fact, there's a documentary about it. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called This Film Is Not Yet Rated, where someone tries to go through and tell you and explain how the whole process works. And apparently it's a secret board. You don't even know who rates your film. Really? And you don't know why you got the rating.
They don't tell you why?
No, they'll give you your film back and say, it got this rating. If you want to protest it, you can submit a different cut. So there's a story that for the South Park movie,
South Park was a big one for,
that they kept getting NC-17. So they kept recutting it and making it worse and resubmitting it, and eventually they got an R, and they were able to release it.
Yeah. What? Yeah. If they ever heard about any kind of rumor as to why they got their NC-17, they would just amp that part of it up. Like even the name of it, bigger, longer, uncut. What was the original name of South Park?
I don't remember.
And they changed it to something even more disgusting. Which I'll look it up. What was the original name of the South Park movie?
So and in the documentary they show like the building where they do the ratings is like. It has all the security fence and everything. You can't even see the parking lot. It's like underground parking. So you don't even know who gets into that building.
That's really bizarre. It's like you're just rating a movie, not like building a bomb.
The original title was South Park All Hell Breaks Loose. And they wouldn't put hell in the title of the movie because it goes on posters and anybody can see it. So they changed it to bigger, longer, and uncut, which is way worse. Way worse. And they got approval for that. But the MPAA is a but it's industry run, so they tend to be a little tougher,
ESRB is also industry run.
No, it is, and I remember, and things get more lax over time. There's a moment in Last of Us, I won't say what character or anything, where one of the characters kills themselves, and you, and you actually you see it on screen. It was
really?
pretty tight editing.
They usually
but
cut away
puts a
stuff
gun
like
to
that.
head, puts a gun to their head and shoots themselves. And I remember when they made Halo 3, there's the scene where you're going through the warehouse with all the civilians in it, and there's a soldier who's distraught. And I remember hearing that one of the original things they were going to have him shoot himself out of distress, but they cut it because the ESRB was like, you cannot show someone shoot themselves in a game. You just can't do that. And now that's just like, I remember when I saw it, it freaked me out that was in there.
Yeah.
What do you think is like the most egregious thing you've seen in a video game that you can't believe stayed in there?
Definitely has to be something in Saints Row, right?
No, no. Well, let's talk about that in a second too. Why you go to Saints Row? Because Saints Row is probably one of the most sex-oriented games, and that's a big problem in the U.S. All of our restrictions come because of sexual content, and all the other places because of violent content or sexualized violence.
Right.
Yeah.
So Brandon's saying like the God of War sex stuff.
Yeah.
The God of War sex stuff?
Yeah.
There's a lot of sex stuff in Witcher too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I never played Witcher 2, but I heard that there was.
Well, even with the God of War thing, like it's off camera, right? You just see like a vase like shaking or something. Like I know they show bare breasts, but the actual like sex action in God of War.
Where? 23 minutes in? Tell me when. I need more information, Ray. But I would say for me, it's like one of the more disturbing things I've ever run into is there's an enemy in Dead Space, which is basically babies. And you're shooting babies, and it's like
they're like alien evil.
They're possessed babies is basically what they are.
They're possessed alien. Or they're like possessed undead.
You're in a
babies.
daycare. When you first
it's
run into
pretty
these
brutal,
things.
and they're crying and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that to me is like Half-Life. Spoiler: the original Half-Life at the end has an enormous baby that you fight.
Yeah.
It does?
Yeah.
It's like it's weird. It's when you go into the other dimension. Everybody forgets that part of Half-Life.
I know you go to the other dimension
with the
but
dogs
I
and the
you have to
tentacles
jump on the
their face.
platform.
Yeah, and you're shooting down into this big baby's head.
It's really like.
I don't remember that.
It's crazy. It takes that like weird turn. You're like, the fuck happened?
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's really different than Half-Life 2 for sure.
Have you guys ever played Dante's Inferno on the 360 or PlayStation 3?
No, I love the commercial they had for that.
It's kind of like a God of War style game.
Yeah.
There's a boss you fight, and she has her tits out, or whatever, and instead of nipples, she has tongues, and demonic babies come out of her breasts and fight you.
Oh, I think
that was
saw
probably
that,
one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
I saw Jack fighting that boss battle
Shocking.
or something once.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
You get to that point, you're like, what? I don't. What is my life?
And just to keep up with this, here's the ESRB ratings in the U.S. There's early childhood, which is
Like
basically
educational
anybody
stuff,
can do
yeah.
it. It's for 3 and over. E for everyone, which is 6 and over. E10 plus, 10 and over. Teen is 13 and over. Mature is 17 and over. And adults only is 18 and over. Now, adults only is one of the interesting ones. There's only been 21 products in the history of video gaming that have been given this adults only. I should say in the history of ESRB.
I can only think of one, I think. It was Night Shift. Was that Dana Plano game, right?
Was it Night Trap?
Night Trap.
Night Trap.
That one.
I think Night Trap was
CD.
before the ratings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was before the adults only.
Yeah, are there any like
Let me see here.
well-known adult-only games?
Saints Row. Not Saints Row. Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, because of the hot coffee.
Oh, that's right. It got
yeah.
reclassified.
Adults only rating was made in 1994. And what happened for San Andreas? Did it happen for the console versions or just the PC version?
I think for both.
Yeah, I think it was because.
Couldn't you do it in both?
I know you could do it on the
PC.
console.
No, I think you could do it on the console.
I thought
so.
it was on the PC.
I thought it was only on the PC as well.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. On the PC,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. And so what it was, there was a thing, it's actually referenced in State of Decay. I don't know if you know that or not.
Oh, yeah. Hot coffee's available in
Yeah.
the
There was
Grange.
this mode called Hot Coffee, which is when you went on a date, one of the dates would ask you if you wanted to come up for coffee.
Yeah, the first girl you can date in the game, I think. I don't know how. I guess it was in the game and they cut it or something, but she
Yeah, they
invites
cut
you
like
in.
that dialogue tree,
Yeah.
but I guess the other stuff was still there. Yeah, so I never understood why hot coffee was available in the Grange State of Decay. Was there something you could do?
It was just a reference. I even went to look it up on forums, and there's
Okay.
nothing you can do in the Grange in State of Decay. It's just a reference to it.
Yeah.
But it is an annoying thing because it's the most frequent thing that
It
pops
kept
up.
fucking popping up, so I was
Yeah.
like, I was going to go do it just to fucking stop it.
Yeah. And I went to the Grange to try to find what the hell they were talking about wasn't there, so I finally looked it up. People go, yeah, it's
The only
just
thing I know about the Grange is that one achievement.
Yeah,
That's all I know.
Does that pop-up only start if you get that achievement, like if you complete those circumstances? If you don't complete that, is there no hot coffee in the Grange?
I guess
I felt
so.
like I didn't see it until after that.
Somebody in one of the forums said it must be a reference to that character's past.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
But it's just like I guess the developers put it in as like a, and then it just like came up.
Well, they have a
way
whole
too
bunch
much.
of Easter eggs. They have like a Slim 360 on one of the dressers. They have Plants vs. Zombies stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Wait, want to hear the list of all 21 titles that have been adults only?
Sure.
Are we going chronologically or alphabetically?
Alphabetically, yeah.
Okay.
All nude cyber.
Okay.
All about
All
it.
nude glamour.
Great.
All nude Nikki. Stop me if I get to.
Love that one.
Yeah. Bejive, I am. Body language, critical point, cyber photographer by Mac Daddy Entertainment.
It's like Pokemon Snap, but dirty.
Fahrenheit, Indigo Prophecy Director's Cut.
Really?
Flirt-O-Matic, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Hooked Messenger, The Joy of Sex, Leisure Suit Larry, Magna Cum Laude, Uncut and Uncensored, Lula 3D, Manhunt 2.
Oh, that's right, Manhunt. I remember that.
Peak Entertainment Casinos, Playboy the Mansion, Playboy Screensaver, Power Chat, RDO.
Playboy Screensaver's a game.
I guess so.
Power chat?
Hey, chat with power.
Power Chat for
Only for adults.
Power Chat for BlackBerry was given adults only on mobile phone because it has suggestive themes and users interact with one another. Users interacting with each other, I guess, is a big adults only thing.
Okay.
Rihanna Rogue, Seduce Me, Sexy Games, Singles, Snowdrop, Spark Spot, Thrill Kill. This one's interesting.
remember that
Tokomeki Check-In, Water Closet, The Forbidden Chamber. I don't know what that is.
Whoa.
Water closet, huh?
Wet, The Sexy Empire, and Exchange. The thing that I wanted to read that list for, it's 21 titles. The only one on that list that is not banned or given the adults only classification, which will then keep it out of retail entirely. Most retail stores won't carry adults only. The only one on the entire list that is not on the list because of sexual content is Thrill Kill. That is the only one. And that was a PlayStation game.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't remember
seeing
Thrill
something on
Kill.
G4 about it like years ago.
Yeah, I'll
I guess
read it
that
to you.
might have been Tech TV
Manhunt
still.
wasn't just
too.
for violence?
Let me see.
Yeah,
it.
for
Manhunt 2,
Yeah.
blood, it's strong language, strong sexual content, use of drugs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And in fact, that's what's keeping, in addition to Saints Row 4 being refused classification, State of Decay is as well. State of Decay was specifically called out in Australia for its use of drugs. That amphetamines is something that you can take that builds your fatigue bar, your stamina bar back up.
Just rename it.
That's what they're going to do. Actually, you would tell me that, what was the thing? It was Fallout. That it was going to be denied classification for having morphine in it in Australia, and they globally changed morphine. And I think that's what Jet is in the game. I don't know.
No, Jet.
no. What's
No, Jet doesn't heal you. Jet.
it's gonna bother me?
Somebody can tell us.
There's also morphine in State of Decay. I guess they'd have to rename that as well.
Oh yeah, there is.
But let's look at
Thrill
Thrill
Kill.
Kill
What
for
the hell
a
is
second.
that?
Thrill Kill is a canceled and unpublished 1998 fighting video game for the Sony PlayStation. While the technical feat of allowing 4 players to fight simultaneously in the same room was to be a major selling point, this was overshadowed by the controversy surrounding the game's depictions of violence and sexual content. Oh, it did have sexual content. Examples of this content include BDSM and fetishistic costumes and acts, limb dismemberment, and violent special moves with names such as Bitch Slap and Swallow This. So that was removed. And it actually was canceled. It was developed by Paradox, which then went on to become, I think, Midway, right? Yeah, Midway Los Angeles. But it was canceled by them, but apparently it got leaked to the internet, and it's easily one of the most playable canceled games ever, because it was fully done, and people would get it on emulators and whatnot.
So they didn't even bother releasing it at all,
No,
even though it was
it
completely
just
done.
canceled. Yeah.
No. Once it gets an adults only rating, that can kill a title.
Wasn't Indigo Prophecy like a known game?
Yeah.
I never played it.
Yeah, it was a pretty big game for the Xbox and PlayStation. I guess
And
PC
it was
as well.
This is
on
called
that list.
Director's Cut.
I don't know what the difference is in Director's Cut, but I know there was a sex scene in the base game. And I get an
The
M.
name sounds familiar, but for the life of me, I can't remember.
I'll show you it's a 2005 title. I'm going to show you the cover art here in just one
The
second.
people who made Heavy Rain made it. That was their first game.
Really?
Okay.
That was
I'm
a
99% sure of that.
The funniest classification or
That
scandal I've
1%.
ever seen with ratings ever was that Halo 2 had to go back and remark all their packages for PC.
Halo 2 PC. Yeah.
Halo 2 PC, do you remember what it's for?
Yeah.
It was nudity.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear about this?
No.
So after the game came out on PC, there was a debug thing that then people, once it goes on PC, people can access a lot more of the code. Apparently it's map files, I think. Their extension is .ass. That's the thing. And one of the error debug messages that would come up was one of the developers mooning the camera.
That's funny.
Showing his ass, and somebody discovered that.
It was like a tiny little icon too. You just
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Just one of those goofy things, and they had to go back and like put re-stickers on all the retail packages.
That's the worst.
To tell people that the game also now includes nudity. So it didn't change the rating, luckily. Luckily, his ass wasn't that bad that they had to like give him a horrible rating. But here's Indigo Prophecy.
That's Fahrenheit.
It's the same
Fahrenheit
thing.
Indigo Prophecy.
Yeah, it's called Indigo Prophecy in the States. It's Fahrenheit, like in Europe.
Because over there it's exotic. It's like,
Yeah.
you can't call it Celsius because it's like, oh yeah, we know that.
Fahrenheit's
like,
so dirty.
It'd be like calling a game Celsius in the United States.
On Twitter, user Brian R. Matson is telling us the sex scene was expanded in the director's cut. That's what happened. Is that worth the whole director's cut to expand a sex scene?
I'm sure there's other stuff that's expanded
No,
too.
That's it. That's all I
That's
did.
the one thing the director cut.
Got
Put
the
it
new
back
thing.
in. It's crazy that the ESRB is.
MedX.
Oh,
That's what they renamed morphine to.
The
in
ESRB
Fallout.
is.
MedX.
It's obviously great what it does.
What is MedX?
Medics? I don't know. Isn't that what heals you?
Is it
Yeah.
Radex, isn't it?
No, that's for radiation.
No,
Medics
MedX.
is.
Multiple people have said MedX.
Okay.
Morphine
Yeah, Radex
MedX,
is for radiation, I believe.
All right.
But anyway, it's crazy to think that the ESRB is on every game, obviously, and how many parents especially ignore it when buying for their kids,
Yeah.
like working at GameStop, like
And it clearly tells you on the
on
rating,
the front and on the back.
and it tells you why it got that
Yes.
rating. Like it lists this.
I can't tell you how many times kids would. First of all, kids don't know what Roman numerals are. They're like Grand Theft Auto IV. I'm like, all right. I do the whole spiel. Their fucking parent or whatever comes in, and I'm like, listen. I turn around, I'm like, look, this is why you shouldn't buy it. And they're like, just give me the money. I'm like, do you like really? And then they come back. A lot of times they come back and like, oh, this game has this, this, and this, and just point to it again.
Like right here.
It's like,
It's like,
yeah,
what do you
we-
do? It's like, right. It's in English.
We told you. Yeah, absolutely.
Assholes, all of them.
People want to make clear that MedX is for damage resistance in Fallout. So we make sure we know what we're talking about here.
All
So
right.
that's
Sorry.
what MedX is
I don't
for.
remember using MedX in Fallout. I didn't need
I
the
haven't played
damage
Fallout
resistance.
I ended up selling a lot of stuff. Like I never used Jet either. I'd always just sell that stuff.
Yeah, I never used the jet.
Or
'Cause
give
you
it-
get addicted to it.
Yeah,
And then it's like, fuck. If
That's
you're
another
doing
thing,
this,
right? Yeah, there's addiction in that game.
And there were characters that you could give it to, like some of the ghouls and stuff like that. You could give them that stuff.
Yeah, I was clean in Fallout.
Yeah, were you?
Yeah, didn't use any drugs.
Look at you. What a good dude.
I think Fallout 4 is coming out soon after the Elder Scrolls MMO.
Man, I mean, I would assume so.
Theoretically, like it's
Yeah.
back and forth.
Well,
right?
also, there's been a lot of rumors that they're working on a Fallout MMO.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think Interplay was supposed to be working on it, then they went under, and there was a lawsuit as to who owned the rights to the MMO property. And I think Bethesda won it back fairly recently.
Because Fallout's been always RPG. Oh no, it had the Tactics game, right? It was like Fallout Tactics or something. or
Oh,
that-
yeah, I forgot about that.
So
game.
it was like Fallout 1, 2, which are whatever RPGs, and then there's Tactics, then 3, and then New Vegas. So.
Yeah, that was like we went through something kind of similar to that back in the days. We did a series called Panics, which was based in a video game called Fear. Yeah, and then Vivendi was the publisher and Monolith was the developer, and they split ways.
I remember that whole
And
thing.
it's like it was like the weirdest thing ever. What's that biblical story where they cut the sun down the middle?
Oh,
that
it was King Samson, wasn't
was
it?
it-
No. It was
Anyway.
Saul. No, God, yeah.
You just keep
That's what
George
they did.
Jorge.
That's what they did with the Fear franchise. They
Solomon.
Solomon. There we go. They
Solomon.
cut the franchise right down the middle. Like some of the logo went this direction, and the characters went this direction, and the story went that way. So it's like whenever we went to go do a Fallout for Panics, we had no idea like what parts of the Fear franchise were where.
Didn't it have like it was called like Fear 2, and then it had like a name under that, like another name?
Right. Like
And
they
then,
had-
then like split, and they're like, oh yeah, Fear 2 is going to be one game, and whatever that name was going to be another game. Like that was the whole thing for a while. And then Fear 2 came out, it's like, all right.
and then they finally just all worked it out.
Yeah, it's
And-
all worked out magically.
Yeah, I
like,
think for
months
like
later.
one game or two games, like one of them got the title, and then the other one got the storyline.
What you need to do is you need to get through like a generation of employees where all the people who hate each other are all gone now, and then they go, okay, let's just bring this all back
Yeah,
together.
let's
this
make
is
this
stupid.
happen.
Hey guys, let's go back to making money on this really
Stop
popular
arguing over
franchise.
nothing.
Yeah, but that happened with the Fallout MMO. It's like Fallout was the MMO. One group had it, and then the single player like campaign, which is basically like an MMO light, really.
Yeah.
Bethesda had it.
Yeah,
so.
Interplay created Fallout. It was their title, but they hit financial trouble, so they sold the single player rights to Bethesda.
There was a Fallout game on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox called Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, and it played like a Baldur's Gate, like
Yeah.
a Diablo. Was that associated with Fallout at all? It's just had Fallout
It was
in the
just a
title?
license.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a licensing. I think Interplay. I want to say they were the publisher on that. I can't remember. It was so long
Yeah,
ago.
I just remember playing it. It was like a.
I don't think it was
Baldur's
very
Gate thing. Yeah, it wasn't great at all. But I was wondering if it was in correlation with the.
No, I think it was like some
Just
other
one-off
developer.
thing, yeah,
Yeah, that
gotcha.
they just cash grabbed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you saw today, the Best of E3 2013 nominations came out, the official ones,
Okay.
Yeah.
run by the Game Critic Awards. So I guess it's hard to believe that it took this long for
Like,
the
what, 2
nominations
weeks?
to come
Yeah,
out,
2-3 weeks.
and they don't announce the winners until next week. And I guess the Game Critic Association is a group of different website editors who all come together to vote and decide on what the best things they played at E3 was. And I think one of the rules is they had to have been able to play the game, like get their hands on the game while they were there.
Really?
And it's a ton of different. I mean.
So does that mean something like Destiny will be on it just because it was?
No, Destiny's here.
Oh, it is.
So I guess there must have been.
Should we just go through some of the big categories
closed
here?
doors demo.
Oh, sure.
Best of show are Destiny, Oculus Rift. How happy are you about that? PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I
By the
don't
way,
get it.
I feel like I'm right about the Oculus Rift just because I felt like since the beginning I've been saying that Ouya is not going to be an exciting thing and no one's going to care about it.
Yeah, and then it came out.
And it came out and it's a nothing. I knew it. I fucking called it from day one, and I know I'm right on
Did
this
you see
one
the
too.
video on Reddit of like the world's saddest unboxing? And it's the guy unboxing the Ouya, and he's like, it's like he's on the verge of just like, he's just so upset. He's like, so I bought the Ouya, and he's unboxing. He's like, got another controller. He just puts it down. He's like in tears. It's the greatest thing.
I saw like a brief like 1 minute unboxing cut fast where it's like box open, wrapping, console, controllers, this, try to connect to Wi-Fi, can't, trash can, that's it. I mean, it's like it literally like puts a trash can at the end of the unboxing.
Yeah, I think Penny Arcade had a comic about it today where it's like they essentially took a mobile phone and removed the phone aspect from it, and then that you're buying that.
Yeah. And they were doing a weird thing. Freddie W was calling them out on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were posting that, oh, look, these
Ouya?
people are wearing Ouya shirts
Okay.
and they can't get into E3. Look at this. This is guy and his 2 kids.
Yeah.
And Freddie W's like, those kids are 12. You got to be over 18 to get into E3. Stop having your persecution complex. He is really
Yeah,
calling them
then
out.
they deleted that tweet.
They did.
Yeah.
That always works. Good luck with that.
Okay, best in show.
So this is interesting. Best of Show is not only just gaming titles or software titles, but it's everything. So it's Destiny was nominated for Best of Show, Oculus Rift, which is obviously hardware, PlayStation 4, Titanfall, and Watch Dogs. I feel like Watch Dogs has been at E3 for like the last 5 years.
No, it just came out last E3. Last
Yeah,
E3
last
is
year was the
when
big
they surprised
reveal.
everyone.
Yeah, it seems crazy to me. I guess hopefully that means I hope Titanfall's not going to be like at E3 again next year.
I think
No, I
they're
think it's supposed to
projecting
come out spring.
Spring
yeah.
2014.
Yeah.
That game is only multiplayer.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I read it was only multiplayer.
seemed
Well,
like-
they do multiplayer well.
It seemed like there were storyline aspects to it in the cinematics, but we'll
I
see.
mean,
Man, I that's by the Respawn Games. Those are the guys who developed Modern Warfare and then split off from Infinity Ward.
yeah, Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
They did 1 and 2.
They were the guys who were the head of Infinity Ward, got in Dutch with Activision, had a huge falling out, went off and started their own thing. They're all suing each other. And I found out that those guys, that's not the first time they've been sued.
Really?
Apparently they went to work on Medal of Honor back in the days, and you can read this story online, but they worked for a studio called 2015. And yeah, they just basically, like, that company was just, after they finished development of the game, they got all these kudos. That company completely fell apart just because of those guys going off and doing their own thing and just like and just poaching a bunch of people and all that stuff. It was a pretty crazy story to read about.
I didn't know
Yeah, and the article definitely did not paint them in a very positive light.
They make good games.
They make good games though.
That's all that matters.
But specifically for games for this these nominations, Best Original Game Destiny, then Fantasia, Music Evolved, Rain by Sony Computer Entertainment.
I've already played Heavy Rain. Why do I want to play Normal Rain?
This is regular Rain.
Just light rain.
Titanfall, Drizzle. It's the prequel. Cloudy skies. And then Watch Dogs. So Titanfall, Watch Dogs, Rain, Fantasia. I didn't see Fantasia.
That's the new Harmonix game.
yeah.
with Kinect.
Have you seen it?
No.
Did you see it on the floor at all?
I saw it on the floor, but I mean, there were people lining up to see it, so I guess people are interested. But I mean, like, I feel like that, the rhythm music genre is like,
Where's
kinda
Evil
dead.
Within? People were really excited about that on the floor.
I saw it there. It was right next to Wolfenstein, but I mean, I'm not sure if they showed anything except that
What was the thing you were most excited about at E3?
the new consoles for sure.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah,
The hardware stuff?
Yeah, I was really, really excited for it.
Man, I played the PlayStation 4. I played a Lego game on it, which is not necessarily the best way to test that.
Yeah.
Those blocks looked really crisp.
Yeah, and we played on the Xbox One. I mainly just went through demos. Like I didn't play like Project Spark. I went through that Rumble demo.
Yeah.
With the 4 motors. And that
Yeah,
was,
I did that at the Microsoft Store.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was pretty.
That was really
They
cool.
said Project Spark's going to be free. Did I
Yep.
read that right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's one of those games where it's like sometimes when you develop something that's intentionally supposed to be a sandbox that everybody uses and does crazy stuff in, sometimes you can't like engineer that. Like the best example I can use for that is Spore. Remember everybody was talking about Spore like it
For
was going to be
years,
like
yeah.
the biggest, greatest open world. Everybody
Was
can
there
do
like
everything.
another Spore? Like
Was
a
it?
sequel? I don't know.
Spores.
I know there was one on the Wii, like kind of.
I don't know. Yeah.
Horrible.
But then,
Right.
but then somebody makes something like Trials, which they didn't intend to be like a sandbox game, and the stuff that you guys
Yeah, the
get,
stuff that people make for Trials Files is absurd.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
They'll be there at RTX.
Yep.
Red Links will have a
Shout
couple
to
people
Red
there
Links.
with some trials stations.
Still one of the best arcade games, I think.
Yeah, I
for
think
$15.
they're going to be there in the Achievement Hunter Lounge with you guys, which is,
Hanging out.
I think, a great fit.
Yeah.
So somebody said I got sidetracked again. I didn't finish my thought about Last of Us, which is I just checked my notes actually, going back to it. I wanted to talk about the Ellen Page thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's funny because Beyond Two Souls is right here nominated for Best Console Game.
Oh, and that's Beyond Two Souls is the game that Ellen Page is actually in.
Yes.
And so there's people. Do we have any ask Brandon anything to show for Ellen Page and Last of Us? But there's a so that's Ellen Page on the left, and then Ellie which is interesting. Her name is even Ellie from Last of Us on the right. And I don't think in stills you can really see it, but I definitely get the feel for it when I play the game.
Yeah, and when I first saw some of the videos and the trailers for Last of Us when they first announced it, it was one of the first things I thought. And I thought it was weird because I think they announced it last E3. Wait, was it last E3?
What, the Beyond game?
Yeah, both of those games. I think they announced them both at the same E3.
I know Beyond was last year.
And I thought it was
Last
like, wow.
of Us might have been there too.
Ellen Page is doing 2 different video games, and I was like, oh no, it's not Ellen Page.
How old is Ellen Page? She looks like she's 19.
No, she's one of those people who be young.
She got
forever.
like a baby face.
Yeah.
So she was on a Reddit AMA and talked about it.
Yeah, okay, so that is the other thing too. Is the story that everyone's printing is that Ellen Page calls out Naughty Dog and Sony for making Ellie like her. Somebody asked her the question, and you got to give credit to a celebrity who's going to do an AMA
and actually answers those questions.
Yeah, gets a tough question and answers it, man. Absolutely. And she answered the question. She just basically said she was upset that they basically ripped off her likeness, but more so because she's in a game.
Yeah, I think her exact words were she wasn't happy about it.
Right. And it mainly put it from the perspective of that I'm in a game that's coming up.
But I've heard it said that apparently Naughty Dog says that they modeled her a lot after the voice actress who played her.
I forgot her name.
She was
Ashley something.
Something.
Ashley Johnson.
Ashley
right?
Tisdale.
It's
not Ashley Tisdale.
It's not Ashley Tisdale. I believe it's Ashley Johnson. She was actually in the Growing Pains show.
Oh right, yeah. Oh no, wait, was it? Yeah. This is the younger sister in Family Ties.
Nope. Growing Pains. She was in Growing Pains. So Ashley Johnson. It's that was a show with Kirk Cameron and all that stuff, and she was.
Growing Pains. Yep. Chrissy Seaver.
And she was later.
I thought it was Growing Pains for the record. People were telling me Family Ties off screen.
Oh, look at that! You're supposed to be the fact checker over there. And so she was in that show, and then I guess she went on to do voice acting. Listen, she's amazing. If you want to see something really cool, go look at the mocap scenes after you play Last of Us. Go watch some of the mocap scenes. There's a great character in Last of Us named Bill, the guy in the town,
right, mm-hmm.
and he's great. And like to see them all interact, Joel and Bill and Ellie in their mocap suits and all that stuff, it's great.
I saw that video. Do the voice actors and actresses always do mocap, or is that a rare thing? Because I always assumed it was like stuntmen.
That's a newer thing.
Oh, it's a newer thing.
Now they call it performance capture.
Okay.
Yeah, performance
Because I
capture.
saw like Troy Baker, I think his name is, doing like his stuff for Joel, and I'm like, oh, he's actually doing that? I thought it was like, stunt guy.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
I will tell you this, is something that aggravates me a lot when, especially, Naughty Dog seems to be one of the more cinematic game companies, right? The games
with
they
all the
make.
Uncharted
Absolutely.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. So anytime a game comes out, there's always the discussion of, hey, let's cast the Uncharted movie, or let's cast Last of Us. You always see that then people like put up actors to be in the cast should they make this game into a movie. Which, first of all, they don't need to do because Last of Us is as good or better as any movie that's going to come out this summer.
I don't understand why people want to see a movie.
It's just the way people talk. It's just the way.
I really don't get that.
But it's like, and then they always say like, or for like Uncharted, hey, let's make a campaign to make Nathan Fillion play.
I saw that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, why?
To play Drake, and it's like, how about Nolan North?
Yeah, how about the guy?
How about the guy that we all love, right? I don't understand that.
Also, I don't understand why people think just because someone looks like an established character that makes them automatically the best choice for playing that character.
I don't understand when they want to make a movie. They have
Brandon,
like a boner for it.
Explain to us what we're looking at there. That's Ellen Page, and then Ellie from the game, and is that Ashley Johnson on the right?
Yeah, it's the voice actress on the right, Ellen Page on the left. And
See, it's weird too, because all the interviews I've seen with Ashley Johnson, she is blonde now.
And she's not in black and white.
And she's not she's not in black and white either. That also looks like a
drawing.
Yeah, the one in the center looks like a concept
Yeah, it
art.
was like concept art.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that looks like Ellie.
That's Ellen Page,
Yeah.
like without a doubt.
Well, you got to see the character too, just the way she talks and everything. It's like sometimes like when a kid swears and everything like that, it can seem very
weird.
gratuitous. But the Ellie character is.
It
I
feels
think,
natural when she does it.
Yeah.
pretty much pitch perfect, man. Yeah, Gus and I were sitting around talking. We're not going to spoil anything, but we were talking about just the way the pacing of the narrative. Some of the gameplay I think gets a little repetitive, just because you're basically killing as much stuff stealth-wise as you can, and then fucking up and everything runs at you, and you hope you killed enough stuff in stealth mode to like fight off
to survive
what's
the
left.
onslaught.
Or run away.
Or run away, yeah. But you can run away from some things, but not others.
Yeah.
But the narrative pacing for that game is incredible.
I think some people have been asking us to do a spoiler cast for that game, but I really don't see how that's possible.
Yeah.
It's like you play the game and that's it.
I mean, we could just like talk about things without having to talk around the edges, but yeah. I mean, there's some aspects of that game that appear to be choice related, but they really aren't choices. They're pretty linear.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so there's some stuff there that I think that we could be discussed, but it wouldn't fill a whole hour.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an hour.
It's a great game though. If you're not playing Last of Us.
We got a PlayStation 3 in the office, so I'm probably gonna steal it and play Last of Us.
I got someone I want to talk to you about.
Yeah, Michael.
Right. Stealing? I'm sorry. No,
play.
I'll ask.
I was talking to Michael this morning, and he said that last night he started playing Last of Us like at 10 or so. He's like, he thought he was almost done with the game.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, I got to this point. I'm sure the game's about to wrap up. He said he finally went to bed at 4:30 a.m. because that's when he finally finished it. He's like,
finished it?
There was another 6 hours he didn't realize that was going to be there. He got to the winter title card, and thought he was done.
Am I gonna get emotionally invested? Am I gonna cry again, like The Walking Dead? Am I gonna be a little girl about it?
I don't know.
I don't know. Walking Dead was pretty.
Walking Dead was,
yeah.
man.
Clementine.
Cutting onions all of a sudden.
Clementine is very different from Ellie. Ellie's a tough chick. Like she's great AI too. She's like Elizabeth in BioShock Infinite, in that she's always around, and that she's actually a helpful AI companion, and that you'll be going to fight somebody, and all of a sudden this brick will come flying in from the side and nail the dude in the face.
Do the enemies engage her? Because I know in BioShock they never shot at Elizabeth.
There's like one or two events, where you're like, oh, you have to get to her.
But you don't need to babysit her.
Right.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I played on the normal difficulty.
Yeah.
But she can be caught, and you have to get her free in a certain amount of time.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, there is cutscenes where you get to watch her die, and that's not fun.
Jesus.
To watch. Yeah. Yeah, the Naughty Dog, or Last of Us, it's almost like, I don't know what it is, like the way they show death scenes is really cool. Because it's sudden, it's graphic, and then it's over and you're back in the game. It's
when the clicker grabs you.
Yeah.
Like if there's one enemy who grabs you, and then they'll bite your neck, and you can see them like pulling like arteries and shit out with their teeth as they're biting, and then it's like, and then black, and you're starting over, you're like, what the fuck?
And then you're back at the checkpoint.
You're like, I don't want that to happen again.
Yeah.
I'm always interested to see how differently they kill the characters in games. Like after I finish a game, like Dead Space, for example, I go online and do they call a death compilation for Isaac and all the different enemies to see all the ways he can die. Like all the enemies, like how he gets dismembered, or he gets beheaded, or he gets cut in half or squashed or something like that. It's really interesting to me.
Really?
Yeah. Because I mean something like that, or with Ellie, I guess I don't want her to die. So I have a feeling if she dies, I'd be like, But then afterwards, and it's like, oh, okay, whatever. Game's over. It's like, okay, let's see how it would happen.
Someone puts a lot of work into those animations, and that you want to see it.
Imagine being that guy. It's like, all right, little girl has to die today. How am I going to do this?
Man, we'll say this, I never get the feeling in Last of Us, it's a very long game. I never get the feeling that I'm going to the same place, or the missions are repetitive or anything like that. I just you go through a lot of different environments and a lot of different places in that game. And a lot of time too. And it's really cool. Hey, but we're getting close to the end. Let's talk about some new stuff that's come out. I got have you tried this Wario game?
I messed around with it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Did it turn off?
It did turn off.
Okay, I'll turn it up. But why don't you talk to us about, does Brandon have anything for Deadpool? Because you played Deadpool.
Yeah, I've been playing Deadpool for...
So what the hell is Deadpool? As a guy who wasn't a comics person, it seems like Deadpool is something I've started hearing about in the last year a lot more than the past.
I'm not a big comic person either. My first time I heard him was in the Wolverine movie, unfortunately, which I hear is the worst introduction to him. But then he was in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and then I saw him, I guess, in his true form. And then I did some research on Wikipedia. And apparently, he's a pretty popular character, and he's been pretty popular for a while.
Spider-Man in the comics is real smarmy and sarcastic.
Yeah. Oh, this is...
Yeah, but he's over the top.
Over the top, breaking the fourth wall constantly. In the first 5 minutes of the game, he rags on Spider-Man.
Okay.
And the game itself is just it's a third-person action brawler kind of thing. It doesn't reinvent the wheel by any means. It knows what it is.
Yeah.
There's it's kind of like a dumbed-down version of a Devil May Cry or a Bayonetta.
Okay.
But gunplay is kind of amp. It's all in the combos and stuff like that. Very funny, very true to the character.
I heard that the writing's pretty good.
The writing is very, very good. Of course, not all the jokes are gonna be great. Some are gonna fall flat. But it's still it's still a lot of fun. I'm playing it through. Very funny.
Who developed it? Do you know?
It's kind of like a Saints Row for
High Moon Studios. I think they did the Transformers games.
Yeah, they did. They did the second one.
I think they did Fall of Cybertron, War of Cybertron, and Dark of the Moon.
Yeah.
And I think, but yeah, probably 3 hours into it, and it's I'm having a really, really good time with it.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, Deadpool's a character I don't know where he came from in the Marvel universe. He's after my time of reading comics? Like, and I don't know who he's associated with. Is he associated with like
Well,
X-Men,
in the
or is he on
game,
his own entirely?
in the game, there's cameos from Wolverine, Psylocke, Mr. Sinister, all like X-Men characters for the most part. So I assume it has something to do with them.
That could also be licenses.
Also true, yeah, also true. Like I said, I didn't read any of the comics, so I don't know like how true to the comic it is, but you know, it's a good time.
I know he's a really, really popular character. I know that people were a little disappointed by his depiction in the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
By
Seeing how he is in this game and seeing how he was, like, first of all, his whole face is mangled, and in the Wolverine movies, it's like, oh, let's get a handsome guy to play Deadpool. It's like, well, that doesn't really work. But
Ryan Reynolds is handsome,
he's dreamy.
Handsome, yeah,
Ryan Gosling's the better of the Ryans, let's be honest.
There's no question there.
Well, it's Ryan Haywood and then Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
Let me just make it clear.
It is a tough competition.
We're pretty close to wrapping up, but you're pulling up.
I got Wario. If you want to play it, I played this.
I was playing it before we started, but I'll play it again.
It's unfortunate we can't show Nintendo gameplay footage because Nintendo doesn't allow their gameplay to be put on YouTube.
Apparently, they were thinking
our stuff ends up on YouTube. Go figure.
They were thinking about reversing that. I was hearing people were like linking us stuff that they may overturn it, which is great because we want to put out the rest of the Super Mario Let's Plays, but we can't.
I didn't see any like official word. It was all like
maybe
like weird. Like it was all like WordPress news sites that misspelled words and had poor grammar. So and none of them cited a source.
Oh, so 100% legitimate.
Yeah, there you go. What Gus is doing right now is he's playing on the Wii U tablet and he's firing arrows from like a bow and arrow and he's firing them at the screen. So he's using the Wii U tablet to interact.
So this is
honestly, this is right before we started the podcast. I picked this up because it was sitting here. This is the first time I've played a Wii U.
Really?
No kidding.
Yeah, I've not played one since they've been out. This is fun.
I'm a big fan of the Wii U itself. This Wario game is not, I don't think, the best example of a good Wii U game. Well, also because I loved the Wario game when it first came out for Game Boy Advance.
They were like mini games. I feel like this one's a little slower.
Crazy thing about the original Wario franchise, the first game, they would just throw you into a game and you had 5 seconds to figure out how to play it and win. It was one of those over and over again.
Do they explain it to you?
No, this one is just like a lot of mini games, but not like micro games.
Yeah, like micro games is what I would want.
The one for the Wii was pretty good too. I felt like it was more like the Game Boy Advance ones as opposed to this one.
All right, well we're at time.
It's kind of tough talking about a game we can't show. But, so Deadpool, you say?
Yeah, I mean it's there's no multiplayer, there's no co-op, so it's probably more or less like you could play like once, maybe twice if you want to get all the achievements. So it's probably a good rental game, but it's a lot of fun. Even if you don't know the source material, you'll have a good time with it, I think.
Cool. Wario's $40. It's a good game. I've unlocked a bunch of stuff in it. There's a photograph thing that's kind of fun.
Screen.
Yeah.
Pretty good screen.
Dude, if you don't have a Wii U, you should absolutely get a Wii U. I mean, that's what I love. I love when people do stuff that's different.
I got the fucking Wii and I didn't play it. I'm afraid it's going to be the same thing again.
I get that. Well, this is the evolution of that. I think the Wii, in the big scope of things, unfortunately, is that it introduced motion controls, and then Sony and Microsoft started chasing that after the Wii sold so many copies.
I'll probably get a Wii U when like Super Smash Bros. Comes out, the remake of Wind Waker, like stuff I want to play.
Right.
Like right now, if I get it, it's just going to sit there.
I played Wind Waker at E3. It looked good. It looked really awesome.
It looked really, really
Although
good.
there was a Reddit post, which I totally agree with, which is when you see the HD remake of a game you loved, all you think is, that's not the way the game looked when I played?
Yep.
And then you see the shitty, muddy version you
I think
used
they
to
did
play.
that at E3. I think they had it side by side, and you're like, shit.
Yeah, they did. They had the screen right there so you could see it all.
Look forward to it.
Okay, well, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.